Obstacle. So you guys said that you wanted me to write about a sibling getting in the way, and this is kind of an indirect way of putting that. My sister had this huge birthday party. She invited a ton of people, some of whom I didn't really like that much, and so they were making a lot of noise. This is a bunch of teenagers. So here's how I would describe it. The loud din that came from downstairs was threatening at best, and incoherent as well. That means that you can't hear what exactly they're saying. I heard tiny snippets of words, but no complete sentences. It was loud and raucous, and I didn't want to be anywhere near it. There was one problem, though. I really wanted some samosas, so I braved the noise and crept downstairs surreptitiously, that means kind of sneakily, to avoid detection. I slunk into the kitchen and grabbed a samosa. Victory, I thought, until I heard, "Hello, Adora, remember me?" Alright, so I still have a bone to pick about that, but that is a little description of an obstacle, and it kind of shows you how you can use things even that you get really, really annoyed at to create fun, interesting, personal narratives. Alright, so now moving on. Another thing that goes kind of hand in hand with an obstacle is a conflict. So a conflict can be a disagreement, a struggle, a challenge, or a choice. Now, conflicts are, again, things that we see all the time in our own lives. Conflicts can be external. What does external mean? External means kind of like outside. They're affected by others. So an external conflict might be an epic game of basketball. So why is that external? Because you're playing with other people and another team is involved. An argument you had with a friend, winning or losing a race, doing something to impress someone, surviving a power outage or a storm. So that one was inspired a little bit by the fact that in my home state of Washington, where I am right now, there was a big windstorm about 3 years ago. So the wind, it was whipping and really knocking down a whole lot of trees and power, and that power outage lasted for a whole week. And that was really fun, actually, although my parents hated it. So you might write about a basketball tournament, an argument, winning or losing a race, doing something to impress someone, or surviving a power outage or a storm. So one thing these conflicts all have in common is that they involve others somehow. So for instance, another team, another person, or a friend. Again, competing team, someone, and power outage or storm, that one involves the weather or nature. So everything here involves something or someone else. That's why it's external. Now, on the other hand, conflicts can also be internal. So, for example, you could write about a time you had to choose between right and wrong. So this is entirely your own decision, choosing between right and wrong. Deciding whether or not to try out for a team. So if you have to make that decision in your head, anytime usually when you're making a choice or a decision, that's kind of where you're arguing with yourself. Trying to choose which flavor of ice cream to eat, or trying to overcome your fear of swimming. Have you ever kind of wanted to do something, but then something holds you back? You probably have. So for instance, maybe you really want to buy that fruit leather, but you thought, well, I also want to buy the bicycle, and I won't have enough money for both. So you can have internal conflicts. Internal kind of means inside. So conflicts you have inside your own head. If that sounds a little weird, it's something that everybody does. You've probably argued with yourself a lot of times. Now, I want to hear from you. What is an example of an external conflict from your own life? So an external conflict you've had. So remember, any kind of competition with somebody else would be an external conflict. Arguing with your siblings would be an external conflict. A race, or basketball, all competitions, something that has to do with the weather, like surviving a power outage or storm, that would be an external conflict. Who would like to be very brave and come up with an external conflict?